Hi everyone. So I just want to let you in on my plans for the Gamergate audiobook, which I'm planning to record this week. My thought is to also put the chapters up on YouTube, so essentially for free, but I wanted to give an opportunity for the people who back the book to raise any objections, if they have any objections to that. You know, I have been giving out sample copies to people from the media and people on the opposite side who seem slightly open-minded. You know, that was more important to me than the money. But, you know, you backed it, you helped pay for it, you helped pay for me to take the time to write it, so I feel that you guys who backed it, you guys who, you know, watch my content, read my writing and so on, I feel that you have buy-in. So I'm giving you a day basically for any objections. I'll still record an audiobook and one will still go on sale, but if you have any objection to me putting it up on YouTube in a similar way to the way I did the kind of review and analysis of Kill All Normies, then yeah, let me know. But otherwise my plan is to record it and put it out in sections, you know, this coming week. So yeah, you can expect that unless anyone has any objections. So that out of the way, just to round out this video, I want to go off on one about some of the stuff that has been happening over the last week or so. So obviously the first and biggest thing on the agenda is that Zoe Quinn's book, Crash Override, has come out. Yeah, it's bad. It lies a great deal. It doesn't back up anything that it says, and the advice it has for dealing with online harassment is terrible. But I've already talked about that twice. So rather than talk about that directly, you know, I've been trying to raise awareness about my book and piggyback on the back of hers. You know, I am a small micro publisher. I don't have a PR department, I don't have a marketing department, I don't have links with bookshops, I haven't been able to organise a book tour, I've had to use print on demand and Amazon. I don't have access to any of the means that Quinn has to push her agenda. So if I'm tweeting people with links to the book and so on, I appreciate that can look stupid, it can be misrepresented, but what other choice do I have? And how else am I going to reach out to people on the opposite side of the aisle to try and get them to even countenance the possibility of considering the other point of view? Yeah, and the advantage of a book is that they can't interject and argue back, that they have to absorb the argument in its totality. But the response has been denial, the reassertion of nonsense, and a complete unwillingness to examine the other point of view. I must have tweeted out links to it a thousand times by now, and something like 5 people have been willing to countenance the other point of view, and most of those people are people that didn't really know anything about what was going on at all and see Quinn's book as a way of educating themselves about Gamergate. So they were more open-minded to seeing the other point of view. And from a personal side, some of the people who've been against me on this whole thing have said that they're willing to take a look. So, you know, that's something. But a lot of the people I've tried to give information about the book, or my video critiquing Quinn's book, I haven't been able to tweet because they use these blockchains and block bots. So I had to use an alternative account to get them to even see that this other information was out there. And that's just what's so kind of damning, isn't it? People are so shut off from opposing points of view, from opposite points of view, from alternate sources of information, and so ready and willing to just scoff rather than to consider what you say. And time after time, I'm saying things like, it wasn't a harassment movement. Look at the WAM report. Look at the FBI report. Look at it's not right wing. Look at these surveys of the political opinions and so on. And they have nothing in the way of facts to go back on that. They just kind of blithely ignore or dismiss it. I keep making this comparison, but it is like arguing with creationists. And it's really striking how much it's like arguing with creationists. Just denial, denial, denial. And once you've disproven one thing they say, they never admit it, they just move on to the next claim. So it's a harassment movement. Oh, what about this? It's all right wing. What about this? And so it goes over and over again. Then there's the Cuphead controversy, in which a supposed games journalist and tech journalist completely failed for a very long amount of time to follow on-screen instructions in a tutorial and jump a character over a thing. Now, this shouldn't be anything, it shouldn't mean anything at all, really. It should just be, ha ha ha, I fucked up. Isn't this funny? You know, we all have off days, and that should be an end to it. Unfortunately, this takes place against a background in which there is zero trust in games journalists, in which many of them appear to hate games, not understand games. They compare tic-tac-toe with fucking Dark Souls, for God's sake. So it's against a background of there being no trust in games media, them appearing not to know what they're doing. You know, there's other examples like people shooting health packs in Doom and so on. So against that background, this was just kind of fuel to the fire that game journalists are shit and they don't know what they're doing. They don't understand games, they don't appreciate games, they don't like games, they can't play games. You know, this is a thing now. But even so, it should have just been, yeah, I fucked up. But no, because this guy was criticised for being shit at a game, yeah, and we all rib each other for being shit at games on occasion. No, this turned into a big controversy and Gamergate was blamed and so on, which I guess is a tacit admission that it was about ethics and capability and so on in games journalism all along and not about harassment. But it seems to have been turned into a defence of the indefensible. The idea that somehow if you're a games reviewer and a games journalist, you don't have to be able to play games. You know, you go to a reviewer for expertise and an educated and deeper insight. You wouldn't trust a car review from someone who'd never driven a car before. You wouldn't trust a food review from someone who only ever ate crisp sandwiches with tomato sauce, you know? You want someone who knows their stuff, knows how to play, and so on. But the really damning part of this, and it's the kind of thing that justifies Gamergate every time. The media comes together and gangs up over nothing and attacks gamers as an audience for somewhat humorously demanding that, hey, maybe games reviewers should know something about games, which doesn't strike me as a particularly controversial statement whatsoever. Yet here we all are. Proof, again, if it were ever needed, that Gamergate was legitimate. And then we come to PewDiePie, who's back in the news, and for equally pointless reasons. In a stream, he dropped the N-word in a moment of apparent stress, you know, and so what? Really? Okay, he's a big personality with a big audience. He makes jokes, he uses edgy language. The word nigger does not have the same connotation in the context of meme culture and online culture and younger people than me. It seems to be essentially meaningless. You know, you seem to be able to accept that the word has different meanings in different contexts. If a rapper says it, if a black rapper says it, that's fine. Even if some white rappers say it, it's apparently fine. If a skinhead screams it at someone, not fine. You know, it's being used in different contexts. So here is yet another context. A stream. online culture, meme culture, a non-American, and using it essentially as a swear word. This reminds me of when that cop got fired for using a meme, or shit nigga, in a private text to another person. When the idea that is somehow racist is absurd. But then we've seen that now apparently using animated GIFs as reactions that have black people in them is now digital blackface. You're going to give me a tumour, humanity. You really are. A big throbbing brain tumour. That's what's going to happen to me. Just from absorbing your cancer like some kind of medieval sin eater. For fuck's sake, get over yourselves. Zang.